The European Commission, in partnership with the African Union Commission, organised the fourth follow-up workshop to the EU-Africa Business Forum in the framework of the European Development Days.
The EU-Africa Business Forum is an excellent opportunity as a platform for the engagement that should happen between institutions of the European Union, African Union, the private sector, both from Africa and Europe.
The value of such a forum is dialogue. We have to understand what the private sector expects from us. We have to see how we can bring that into our work. And by doing so, I think over the last years we have already developed a much better knowledge of how to engage with the private sector, how to work with them, how to make sure that what they do is actually not only good for them, but is also beneficial for development.
The private sector is already playing a major role. It is really particularly sort of holding the small and medium enterprise sort of space. And that's where most employments are generated, and that's where most production are sort of made. So the idea is how to sort of make him play a much bigger and much larger role.
I would like to invite you to put in place European Marshall Plan for Africa, in which the European private sector can be the bridge to strengthen the cooperation between Africa and Europe. Je pense que l'Afrique peut constituer une réponse à la crise économique au niveau de l'Europe. L'Afrique peut offrir de l'énergie à l'Europe. L'Afrique peut offrir son marché à l'Europe.
The African continent is really getting a very interesting continent to invest in, and we see that a lot is happening. We are already investing in Africa for more than 50 years. Our first operation was signed in 1963, so we are actually intervening in the continent for quite a long time and have been observing what is happening. And what we see is now more exciting than it was before.
Africa is a hotbed of opportunities, with a rapidly growing population, expanding markets, and abundance of untapped resources.
When you're doing a risk analysis about investing in Africa, yes, there'll be security issues, but then you also look at the opportunities that there are in Africa. And Africa is a continent that is growing. We have two key resources. That is our youth, that is huge and has potential to grow and contribute to economic growth. And then we have the natural resources that exist in Africa that are being exploited but still largely remain untapped.
We have right now had a process of developing Agenda 2063, which is a long-term strategic framework for Africa's development over the next 50 years. And the first step was consulting with the private sector, together with other stakeholders, the youth, women's organizations, and public sector entities. Now, getting them involved enabled us to get an understanding of what their expectations were for the Africa that we all want.
The important thing for an investor is to have a reliable environment. This means we need to have a clear understanding of what are the rules, what are the conditions to invest. But in many cases, it's also the fact that you have local partners that can facilitate your life in the country and can open, doors to other opportunities. And it's also important to have integrated markets. This is something that we face in Europe because we are many times discussing about the advantage of a single market. And it's also good in Africa. If we have more integrated markets, immediately we have bigger opportunities to do business, and immediately they will become more attractive in terms of investment.
The European Commission and the African Union Commission welcome you to join the next EU-Africa Business Forum.